you want Returnal? And I was like, do you know how much Returnal is here, by the way?
$90.
More than that.
$100?
More than that.
110?
More than that.
$120?
$124 for Returnal. That is the most expensive game I have ever seen in my entire life.
What has it got in it?
Nothing. That's the standard edition of the
okay.
game. Just the standard game. That's the most expensive game I've ever seen in my life.
Why would it?
So $60 is like the normal price for you guys. That translates to about $100 here. So normally a game will come out at about $99 and it will normally get a day one discount to about $89 or $79. And that's generally how much a game costs. $79 to $89 is normally your day one price. And then after that first week, it will go back up to $99 and then it will sit there. PS5 games have been launching at about $109 to $115, except for I think Godfall, which I think was $120. Everybody, welcome back to TCS episode number 5. I believe it's 5. Yeah, I can't believe we've done 5 of these already. You can tell that we're getting pretty good at podcasting based on the fact that I can't even intro it properly. So there's that. My name is Josh, and I'm joined by my co-host George.
That is me. That is me.
How you doing today, buddy? What's happening?
It's a rough day. I had a rough work day. That was terrible. But I'm looking forward to podcasting, to talking about the things we like, to me complaining about the things I hate, so on and so forth. So this is going to be a good experience.
This podcast is increasingly becoming one of the highlights of my week.
As it should, because you could pay for therapy, or you could come here.
Or I could just talk to you. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing about the podcast. It becomes sort of our own personal therapy platform where we can just complain about things, cry for just an hour straight. You guys haven't seen the lost episode. The lost episode is actually just 1 hour of both of us sobbing uncontrollably. I don't know if
once you have the breakthrough, you don't want to interrupt the cry session. Once it starts flowing, once the levees break, you just let them go. Yeah, and also, like, I'm not going to bother you if you miss your therapy session. You ever have a therapist who's like, hey, you didn't come today. What's going on? You're like, hey, okay. Figure it out, therapist. I didn't come today. I'm late. It's like, oh, I'm going to have to get you off this high-demand meeting. I have other clients.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, well, you just giving up on me like that?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a therapist.
That's what it is,
You were late for 3 sessions. Leave me alone.
It's all about that. It's all about that money at the end of the day. That's what them therapists are all about, huh?
Yeah, they put microtransactions in my therapy sessions now. If you want a cosmetic that makes you happier, it's actually $18 to continue this session.
That is real life, though, right? Because they just give you drugs and then you just have to pay for them. Those are just the microtransactions.
forever. And then if you want New Game Plus, if you want to keep going, you got to keep coming to their sessions. You buy more time. So.
Well, this is today's episode isn't as much of a therapy session as it is a gaming podcast. We got some interesting topics to discuss. We're going to talk about free to play games and why they suck, I guess, or what's good about them and what's bad about them. But before we get on to that, how's your week been? What's been happening with you? Have you done much interesting stuff this week?
Well, no. Well, in the U.S., when we record these, it's a Tuesday, so I don't normally get a lot of week time in. Last week, since the last podcast, I was aggressively harassed on Twitch by bots. That was pretty good.
What happened there?
I don't know what I did, but I just had a guy just came in and was like, I'm going to follow you with millions of bots now.
Oh, yeah,
good luck. And I got raided by a robot that brought 120 people, air quotes, people to my stream over and over again over a 5-hour period and just followed me and spam my alerts for 5 hours.
Right.
I was able to deal with it, but it was pretty unsettling to just have someone aggressively target you with robots for 5 hours. and then removing all of them with a third-party tool there wasn't too much of an effort, but I'm pretty sure it tanked my internet, so it like crashed my stream the very next day. It was just a rough go.
Yeah.
It was a rough go.
Doesn't sound
and then
good. No, it doesn't sound like something someone would do on the internet, though. That doesn't sound like something that
I really feel like, because I had not outright banned the troll until way too much time had gone. I was just talking to him like, "Are you stop doing this?" He's like, "I'm gonna do it some more." And by the end of it, he was like, "What's your schedule? Can I hang out?" And I was like, "No, no. You had your chance to be my friend, and you ruined it by harassing me." And we do party games where you can draw. He would just go in there, and he went in there and drew genitalia. And one of my explicit rules is, look, this is a family friendly stream. Don't put that stuff in here. And then people are like, "I did it." And I'm like, "You killing me." But my worst experience was today. I had a bad experience today, Josh.
Wait, is it what we're doing right now?
No, this is gonna be the new worst experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
what happened today?
Because Apex Legends dropped and it didn't work. But this was before that worst experience.
Okay.
I woke up. I actually I went to bed early last night and had some quality time with the wife and overslept my alarm. And overslept a morning meeting for my day job. And caught the tail end of it. There was about 10 minutes remaining, and I rushed to my computer and was trying to log in because I was the host organizer. So it's like to pull the meeting, like participants and times people entered and exited, only the organizer can do it. So I was trying to join just so I could pull that list, so I would have the attendance list. Like my boss would be okay if I just told her, it's like, look, some came up, I had a hard time, but I didn't want to lose that attendance role. So I was like, let me just call into this meeting, go over the intercom and say, I had an emergency come up, I'm sorry, but I'm here. And when I did that, I had rushed out of bed to do that and joined that meeting with no shirt on, and my camera was auto turned on. So I joined an hour late to a work call with no shirt on. And my boss was like, George, your camera's on? And I was like, oh no, that's bad. And then just turned my camera off. And they were like, well, that's about it for the meeting, guys. So we'll talk to you next time. Then my boss immediately called me and she's like, you understand why I have to call you, right? And I was like, look,
that's bad.
I was like, I really did think my camera was off. And she's like, well, what happened? I was like, my dogs are sick this morning. I was having a hard time. And I was like, look, Sarah, no one is more embarrassed than I am right now. Okay. Yeah. I feel like total crap. And then she was like, well, let's get the rest of the team on the call. And they all just single-handedly joined the call and made a comment roasting me. I'm cool with the team. So, and she was like, well, look, I mean, you were technically an hour late for work though. Like, that's not cool. I think you've learned your lesson about being shirtless on work calls. And I was like, it's not the life I want to live.
No.
It's not the life. I just want to can I be a content creator with Josh? He won't chastise me for being shirtless.
No, it's fine. You can do that. But so wait, can you show your face at this job ever again? Or is this like a situation where you're like, because
you know what I said? Because I was like, well, look, guys, honestly, I'm not embarrassed about my body. So it's like, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. I am embarrassed for the team as a whole of me being a member of it and being like, I'm the crazy shirtless guy. It's like I'm not gonna be like, yo, you saw my titties. I'm not,
it's bad.
I'm not gonna be like that. I'm just gonna be like, well, look, it is what it is. I'm sorry. I'll let you know next time if I'm gonna be running late. And and then my manager was like, well, George, on our new computers, there's a camera cover that you can just slide over. So even if you forget that you left your camera on and join a meeting, you will still be covered. And I was like, that's a good point, Mike. Thanks, buddy. I will remember that and make sure this never happens again. And then Sarah was like, how could it be any worse? I was like, I mean, I guess I could have had no pants on. I have pants on. I've got pants. They all had a good laugh at old Georgie boy. And that, I think that kind of actually got me out of less trouble. If I had just never addressed it and just didn't show up in a hurried manner, late, partially nude, my boss would have been like, I'm really upset with you for not letting me know where you were.
Yeah.
But instead, she was like, whoa, George, what's going on? And I was like, I just got a lot of stuff.
It's been a hot mess in general.
Being a hot mess, rushing into a meeting, barely clothed, you know. But look, man, that sleep that I got was some of the best sleep I got in the past 2 weeks.
And that's important. Sleep is very important.
I was kind of not regretting it because I was like, I'm so well rested.
Yeah.
I feel so good.
That's the thing. When you get to our age, sleep becomes far more important than people realize it. I think so.
Oh my God.
There's that.
You know what it is too? I sleep with a sleep apnea machine. Oh. Well, I'm supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah. I have sleep apnea issues because of my neck thickness. And for the past week and a half, I actually haven't been sleeping with it because I've been either asleep on the couch or just get in bed and forget to put it on. I put it on last night because I went to bed at a reasonable time. I was an adult about it. Put it on. That thing put me out. It was like fast travel. I just went from that moment to 10 hours down the road. It was like, oh, this is great. I looked at my phone. It was like 10:30. I should have been working hours ago. I was like, no, I'm going to be in trouble.
So what's the situation like? Are you in trouble or are you okay? It's like you're off now. You're off the hook.
Oh God, dude, I'm so good at my job that I can just get in trouble.
You're one of these people. One of these people say, I'm too
because
good.
we had a meeting with the boss's boss last week.
Yeah.
And I was one of the leads on it. And they're like, you guys are doing an incredible job. You guys are so good.
That's good.
And I was like, look, yeah, maybe I'll sleep and show up nude, but we'll be the best team you got because I'm on it. All right. Results. You've got to weigh the goods against the bads. You know what? I got an email today that said there's a personnel action in your file. You need to read it. And I was like, oh God, I'm getting written up. I'm in trouble. And I opened it. I was like, here's a cash bonus for your work on the team. And I was like, I'm showing up nude and getting a cash bonus.
Wow.
I like this. But yeah, it was rough though. I would like to say that I was more embarrassed than I was. I think the realization of being not that embarrassed was I stream too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're too used to it.
Oh, just turn the camera off. And yep, turn that off. We'll just edit that in post.
Because you're not going in at the moment, right? You haven't been into the office in 12 months. So is this a thing where they're going to be like, well, now it's time to start coming back in again? Or is it still going to be remote?
We can't. There's a mandate to where we're not supposed to be in offices because people are still dying from COVID. It's all remote work.
Yeah.
And there's no official plan to be back in the office. So we're just all remote. Also, I've moved away since we've gone remote. I don't even live near the office anymore. So I
live in a different country now.
Yeah, I moved, then told my boss. I was like, hey, boss, I just want you to know I don't live there. So if we go back to the office, we're gonna have to work something out because I'm not there.
How far away are you from the office now?
Over an hour. I used to be able to bike to the office, and I moved from DC to Baltimore.
That's not a commute anymore. That's you have to find a new job kind of territory at that point.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people that do it, but doing that daily, that's not gonna happen. I'm not getting back into that. Well, there is a field office for my organization here in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, and we measured that. And I was like, well, look, if they tell me I have to report to an office, let's buy a house in a city where we have a field office, because then I can reasonably just go there and I'm on site.
Yeah.
So we picked Baltimore because we didn't have to move far, but we're as far. So who knows? I mean, by the time we've got to address that, the podcast will be popping off. I'll probably be quitting anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I think at this point, I wouldn't be worrying too much about a day job. I think we've got this podcast thing going. I think we're pretty good at the podcast now. I'd say it'll be any day now there'll be sponsors knocking on your door. Waiting on some.
Would not.
The irony of this conversation right now, bragging about how good we are at podcasting while talking over each other.
No episodes. None live either.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
None live. Interrupting.
I didn't have anything. I have had nothing exciting like that happen to me in the past week. I've had nothing of that level of excitement.
Okay.
I rearranged my office and I've got some slightly
It looks
new
great.
setups. It looks, I mean, apart from the giant white Doom behind me, which is just a window with the curtain closed, by the way, it still just looks like the surface of the sun.
It
So
looks
yeah,
like you're passing into the afterlife.
yeah, it's kind of happening. I
It
mean,
looks like you're gonna turn around and walk off into heaven.
I wouldn't be so lucky. I wouldn't be so lucky. I'll get a curtain for that and fix it. But I've rearranged the office a little bit, so it's looking a bit different. I'm pretty happy with it. My Mac, which I use for all my video editing, completely broke, so that's good. So I'm working on fixing that at the moment. I've got some spare parts ordered from Amazon, which should be arriving in the next day or so. And then I'm going to have to try and find a way to open that up and fix that. Hence why there's been no videos. But by the time you're watching this, this is completely irrelevant. And you probably haven't noticed that there was no videos 6 to 8 weeks ago.
Apex servers might be live by the time they watch
Apex
this.
servers might be live. George has been very upset about the Apex servers. And I guess that kind of brings us on to our sort of topic for today, which is around free-to-play games. And, you know, the level of entitlement or lack thereof entitlement, I think, around free-to-play content. And this kind of all started because of some problems with Apex. There's, you know, a bunch of new content which has been recently added to the game, and it stopped working, essentially, for a short period of time. And I'll let George explain it in a bit more detail shortly, but that sort of sparked a bit of a conversation between us where we're sort of talking about free-to-play content and what's acceptable from a free-to-play game. You know, is it okay for a free-to-play game to just stop working? And, you know, are we allowed to be upset about that because it's free? Or are we not? Now, I guess it kind of created a bit of an interesting conversation between the two of us, and that's why we thought it would be an interesting topic to kind of discuss here. So I guess I'll throw to you because you're a little bit more involved with Apex, and we'll use that as kind of the starting point to kind of like kick this thing off. And you can kind of explain what's happened, why it's happened, and what it means, I guess.
Yeah. So Apex Legends, you know, I've talked about it quite a bit here on the podcast. It's one of my favorite games because I like shooters. I like the smooth movement, and I do like battle royales, the excitement behind them. Apex Legends has gotten into their 9th season, a season so vast and immense that it's not even season 9. It's called Apex Legends Legacy, and they're rolling out. Yeah, I know it's a new thing. And when my friends were talking about it, I was like, you know, they're just changing it so it doesn't sound old, right? If it's Apex 9, you're like, what is this? Is old. This is not good branding, you know? So, but anyway, they was supposed to be so big. They added a new mode, a 3v3 mode, which is kind of like a CSGO, a Valorant type mode. They added a new character. They had major map changes, all kinds of rebalancing, and the new battle pass rolled out today. You could pre-install the patch, couple gigs, get ready going, 1 p.m. Eastern, load up the game and be ready to play as tweeted by Respawn, the game devs. And when I went to play it today, 0 servers can be found, cannot connect. 0 servers can be found. That actually happened for 1 hour. Then I got into the game, and the only thing I could get into was the firing range. I couldn't even unlock the new character. I couldn't even buy anything. And I had access to none of my cosmetics, none of the stuff I bought over 2 years of playing the game. I actually had the game as if I were a day one player, is what it had become, right? So I go on Twitter, the old bird app, and I'm like, hey, let me see what Respawn is saying. And you click it. Hey, we are aware of the server issues. We are working to restore. You click the replies, and it is just a maelstrom of people arguing over whether or not you're allowed to be mad at the game not working because it is a free game. This game is free. You have no right to complain. The devs are working as hard as they can. And the other side is saying, okay, this game made $1 billion. It should just work when they say it's going to work. What are you talking about? This is a small team. They're trying their hardest. And people are saying that like they know the people on the team, by the way. People are saying that on Twitter like they're in the Respawn team.
Yeah, Brad's working overtime, man. Have you?
Yeah, you don't know Brad?
Brad's like
one guy.
He's like sweating bullets over there, man. He's just hacking away at the servers, trying to get things back up and running again. Joey
He
didn't get to go
unplugged it.
home to his family last night because he was just plugging away, pulling different Ethernet ports out of the server, chucking another one in, being like, "Oh, is this working now? I don't know if it's working." These guys are, they're just doing it for free. It's just they're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They don't need to be paid. It's not about money. They just want to make a game that's free. They just love doing it. That's why they do it.
So, yeah. They said, "Look, this is a small team. You should be mindful of that." And other side is like, "Why is it a small team? This game makes $1 billion. What are you talking about?" So I'm just going through this argument, and I'm so mad because I've spent. I actually don't want to know how much I've spent because it's more than what I think. Yeah. But at a minimum, at least $500.
But you just want to play the game.
But I just want to play it, and I want to be able to spend money on it. So like, I want to get into the game to play the new character who has a brand new flight mechanic that we've never seen except for in Titanfall 2 10 years ago. So like they're just bringing old game mechanics. Oh, this is new. Like, I remember this, but I want to unlock the new character, buy the battle pass, play the new content with my friends. I was thinking about taking the day off from work just to play this game today.
Wow, that's a big, okay. So that's when it gets pretty serious. I've only done that a few times in my life. So yeah,
I almost took the day off and, ended up showing up late to a meeting with no shirt. So I probably should have taken the day off.
I would have advised taking the day off as well at that point.
But yeah, so like that's when I got to thinking. I was writing the same tweet and deleting it 100 times because I was so mad. You ever do that where you're like, I'm just gonna go after somebody and then you just delete it?
Yeah, and then you realize it's never gonna benefit you, right?
Yeah, so then I was like, let me just bring this up to Josh. Maybe Josh would have some interesting insight because, like, in my opinion, I should be allowed to be mad when the game I want to play doesn't work when they say it's supposed to be working. And I don't think that any amount of money, whether or not I've spent $0 or $500, matters. I want to spend my time on this game. That's what I want to do. I want to spend my time on it. And if you say, oh, hey, pre-install the patch, you can play it at 1. It should work at 1, you know? And the argument that this happens every season, every time a game is launched, every time there's an online game with hype. Why? Why are you accepting that is that should not be the acceptable process? You should not say, we allow this because every game has done this. Every game you're thinking of that does this is EA, by the way.
You are right. A lot of games do it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's acceptable. And I think, you know, what you said about how I want to spend my time playing this game. It's an interesting point because, you know, with a free-to-play game, a lot of the currency does end up being time. Time ends up being the currency you're spending because you're choosing to spend your time as a grown adult playing the game that they're making versus doing literally anything else in your life. And I think that's a really important factor to consider, especially with this whole discussion about free-to-play, because it's not always just about monetary currency or anything like that. It is often about time, right? As well.
Time is expensive. And, you know, it's not just like some free-to-play games have ads in them. You know, a free-to-play game that's on your mobile phone that has ads.
Yeah.
Do you have a right to complain about it not working as intended? You see what I'm saying?
Well, you're still paying to use the service. It's just you're paying in a different way. Because if you're watching ads, you are ultimately paying to use the service. That's how YouTube works, right? I get paid by YouTube by people watching my videos, and they get served 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many ads per video, and then I get a cut of that. But you're paying to use YouTube, whether you like it or not. You're paying in your time, and then advertisers obviously pass that monetary amount on because they've been given your eyes. That's just realistically how it works, and you can slice it whichever way you want, but that's the truth. When it all comes down to it, I wanted to go back to what you said at the beginning, because I'm on the same side as you. I agree with you. I think if a company wants you to take them seriously and they're producing a product, whether it's paid or free, they're doing events, they're doing these new updates and things like that, and it doesn't work, I mean, how can you be taken seriously, right? If Apex is your thing, or it doesn't even matter if it's Apex, it's Fortnite, whatever it is, and they do an update, and it just stops working, and the game stops working for 48 hours or 24 hours each time. You're like, it doesn't matter how good this is, you just cannot continue to invest your time, emotion, self into that product because it just stops working. And that isn't acceptable. It's not acceptable. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not acceptable, right?
Hey, this food made me sick. Well, it was free. What? You can't complain about it. You didn't pay for it. No, I got food poisoning though. Like, no.
Yeah, it doesn't work
This
with
was a free.
anything.
I mean, yeah, this was a salami from 10 years ago, but sure. The best part about it, that it real botching that event was that, or this launch, is that there's always the debate of like, is this Warzone? Is Warzone better? Is Apex better? Is Fortnite better?
Yeah.
And I think Apex had 350,000 viewers today on Twitch with streamers logging in, and all of them were sitting right on the cannot access servers page.
Sitting in the gun range.
Oh my God. Not even people just couldn't even log in. If you looked on Twitch, it was the same thumbnail of 0 servers found all the way across Twitch. It was so embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's incredibly damaging to them as well, as a publisher and as a developer. It's incredibly damaging to them. But, we're not talking, okay, it might be a small Respawn or the team working on this. Maybe it is a small team. Maybe. But it is EA. They have EA's funding and EA's backing. And they're making money hand over fist on this game. And it doesn't matter whether it's free or paid. The reality is, like, this game is incredibly popular. It's top 3, right, of those Battle Royale games, if not top 2. And it's making huge quantities of money from EA. And I would wager that it probably makes more money than EA's paid games that came out over the past 12 months. I don't know what their lineup was like last year.
EA puts out paid games that don't work on launch, like The Sims.
But it's EA, and this isn't even a knock at EA, right? This isn't necessarily directly related to EA. This is related to any of the publishers who do this. So it's not us hating on EA like everyone seems to do. This is towards any of those companies. It's not a small company. This is a massive corporation developing and publishing a game, and they're making billions of dollars out of it. It's not a small indie team of 3 guys creating Among Us. That doesn't work. This is a huge corporation.
Right. And Apex has been a game for 2 years now. It's over 2 years old. Yeah. So like, where you stand with how much money it makes. You know how many resources it needs. It's only an online game. It should have enough online resources to not have this happen. Because imagine how great the game could be if all 350,000 viewers were watching good gameplay today on Twitch. 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But my gripe is not with really EA. We all know EA's kind of scummy about their practices.
Yeah.
We're okay with that though.
I mean, all of them are though. All the publishers are.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the capitalistic.
We're not attacking you, EA. If you want to sponsor us, 100% open to.
We will cut that part out.
Yeah, but definitely, I'll cut everything out. If you want to
edit it immediately.
You're a fantastic company. We love you. Please.
I actually like EA. Put that in. So my problem is with the white knights on Twitter who are like, "How dare you? You cannot complain about a free game."
Yeah.
And you say, "Well, I spent $500 on this, so it's not free." I'm like, "Well, that was optional. You don't have to pay for that." I'm like, "So you're telling me if I spent $20 on this game to install it, then I could be mad that it was down and my $500 are totally negligible?"
I think there'd be
what is that?
There'd be an equal argument on the other side if that was the case, though, because like putting a cap in this EA thing, right? I do have sympathy for the developers because I'm sure there are guys. The servers obviously went down. Everything broke. And I'm sure there's a team of people working at Respawn tonight who aren't going home to their families. They're not going home to their home-cooked dinner. Sharon put on a delicious roast for Brad, and Brad's still plugging away at the servers. He's not going home to have that roast. Those potatoes are only going to stay crisp for so long before, they're just not going to hold that crisp firmness. That you like to eat when you have a roast. And I think, Brad's going to miss out on that tonight. Sharon's going to be eating dinner alone. She's probably going to put the kids to bed alone as well. And she'll just go to sleep by herself. And, I do have sympathy for the developers that are stuck probably having to work overtime doing that, because of course they didn't want to break their game, right? So I just want to put that out there as well. I do feel bad for these guys who maybe they were overly ambitious in what they were trying to do. Maybe they weren't talented enough to execute or pull off what they were trying to do. But I'm sure that they weren't sitting there being like, all right, let's bring this whole thing down tonight. Let's press this button and bring this whole thing down to the ground tonight.
Imagine Brad going to his boss and be like, "Look, I've been working for 80 hours. We're not going to fix this tonight." And his boss is like, "Brad, this is a free-to-play game. You can't complain." Like, I'm going to miss my meal. That meal was free, and you know it. You didn't pay for that.
That's it, man. That's the thing, right? It's not, nothing is free. Nothing is free. Even if a free to play game, nothing is free. But, this isn't even a knock on necessarily the devs. I mean, they may have screwed something up, right? But they never wanted to, no devs going out of their way to jack up their game and screw it up. There's no one doing that. It's just like people on Twitter being like, "Oh, Respawn suck. Respawn are the worst." I mean, maybe they're not the most talented developer. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But there's no one sitting there at Respawn tonight being like, "Yo, Jeff, do you reckon it'd be really funny if instead of pushing this update live, we just pull all the Ethernet ports out of the servers instead?" And be like, wait, why would you want to do that, Steve? That would just break the entire game. Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? And we get to see all the responses on Twitter. Wait, but we've just worked for like 5 months to make this update, and we've been working overtime and crunching. Brad said that his wife Sharon was cooking him this massive roast meal tonight to celebrate their 10-year wedding anniversary and stuff. You wouldn't want to just blow this whole thing out. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. That's what I want. That's what I'm all about here at Respawn. I mean, come on, guys. Are you kidding me?
Well, I don't know. Like I was saying earlier, I don't hate Respawn for this.
Yeah,
they got the old hug of death.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bothered by the people who tell me I just can't be mad. Like, how dare you? It's like you spent money on optional cosmetics. You did not buy the right to be mad because this is a free to play game and this is a free content update. You have no right to complain. And then one that I saw was one person said, it reverted me. I lost 3 heirlooms. I lost all of my skins. I lost everything. And one guy's response was, "Sucks to suck." I was just like, yeah, people are vicious out here.
That's harsh, man. It
sucks to suck.
People always come down on both sides of it. I think, especially if you don't just sit and think about it logically. People sit there being like, it's a game, it's free, without actually realizing the implications of like, okay, why does this game exist in the first place? It's to make money. Okay, so it's about making money for a giant corporation. At the end of the day, that is all it is. It's not.
That's what the gaming industry is,
right? That's
exactly what every entertainment industry is.
It's about money. It's about making as much money as you can off this thing, and it's got nothing to do with being paid or free to play or anything else in between. It's just about making as much money as you can, right?
Yeah, and like, if you're gonna say the people who are basically financing this operation, the whales, the people like me who buy the cosmetics, if you're gonna say the people who actually pay these salaries, you have no right to argue, then what are you doing for the game if you just play it and do nothing else? Is your money for Respawn, is that your white knighting on Twitter by saying no one complain, everyone be quiet, nobody say anything mean here? Because like, that's not going to keep the game going 2 years later. The people who Respawn should cater to are the people that actually spend money. If they're going to be capitalist organizations.
Yeah, because that's what it is. Because I'm trying to think what the inverse argument is, just to try and keep it as fair as possible. Like, Is it just fanboyism? Is that what it is at the end of the day? Is it just people who are so enamored with the game? It doesn't matter if they've paid for it or it's free. They're like, don't hate on this because I love it. Is it that?
I saw one where a guy said, if you hate the game so much and it's bothering you, why don't you just stop spending money on it? And once it doesn't have any money, they'll be forced to change it for it to keep making money. And I'm like, no, they'll just close it. What are you talking about?
They'll shut it down.
They'll just shut it down. They'll just shut it down like the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, that's the thing. It has to be coming from a place of fanboyism. I mean, companies get a pass all the time. It depends on your level of investment with the company as well, right? Because if you're purchasing a product and it doesn't live up to your expectations, you might not always complain depending on what the corporation is or what the business is, I suppose. Like, different companies have different standings in your stratosphere, your opinion, different values you put on different products. Like, if McDonald's, if you go and buy a Big Mac from McDonald's and it's just, actually, I'd probably complain if I got a Big Mac and it was in a game case as well. I probably wouldn't.
I still bought Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Because of The Witcher 3. You see what I'm saying? Like,
so, and you gave that a bit of a pass, right? Because you're like, well, like, it didn't work and it was broken, but they had so much goodwill off the back of Witcher 3 that you're like, all right, I'm just going to do this, not complain, and then refund it. Which I guess is kind of complaining, but it's still, but you still give them a pass. So I suppose there are probably different tiers of that conversation, depending on where you sit in terms of like fanboyism for the game in general.
Well, my level of frustration is directly tied to how much money I've spent. So it's like, if I've bought every battle pass and I've participated in every event that helps keep this economy alive.
Yeah.
When I want to play it, when you say it's supposed to be available, I want to play it, and I think the opposite would be, well, I've spent $0. I can wait 3 more hours for free content. I can wait 5 more hours for free content. I'll wait another week if I have to. By the way, that happened at 1 p.m. Eastern today. We're recording. My time right now is 11 p.m.
Yeah.
It was still not working. I was actually playing it when you were like, what's your status? Like, yeah, I'll get on the computer right now. It's still not working properly. Yeah. So that's like, that's 10 hours of the game being down, of a $1 billion game.
I get that down. Though. I mean, especially if you spend a decent amount of money on it. Like, I think there certainly is an expectation for it to just work. You're like, hey, I have put money into this thing. I just want to play the game that I've paid to play.
Well, what do those people say when it is a paid game that doesn't work, though?
Can you think of any examples? Like, I know Cyberpunk's like the most famous one, right? Where like,
so do you remember when EA put out The Sims and it had online only and the servers were not working? So you would pay $60.
SimCity, right?
Yeah, it was like the SimCity relaunch.
Yeah, I remember.
And they put it out, and it was like, oh, it's always online for anti-piracy.
Yeah, and you couldn't authenticate.
The servers were down, so you could actually buy the game and just not be able to play it.
Yeah, that's bad.
Tony Hawk, when they put out that Tony Hawk game that had 60% of the content online, so when you put the disc in, you couldn't play it. You had to download it, but if you didn't have internet, you actually could buy the $60 game and not get the game.
That's pretty bad. Actually, Spyro Reignited Trilogy did the same thing, where only one of the games was on the disc and the other two you had to download or something like that.
Even Cyberpunk is a classic example. Like, if you are playing that game hoping, like, if you're not online and you're not getting the patches, that game is damn near unplayable.
Yeah.
I was getting crashes every 15 minutes on PS5. It was brutally hard to finish.
That's
probably by the time I finished it, I refunded it.
That's the most famous example, right, of a game that like truly is not working. I mean, still not on the PlayStation Store, by the way. That maybe that could be like a weekly segment. Is Cyberpunk back on the PlayStation Store yet?
You just need a counter. There's just like days since Cyberpunk's been off the store.
107 days since Cyberpunk has been off the store. I think that's a really big example of a game that just like straight up did not work as a paid game, and the backlash from the gaming community was, I would say, viscerally like very one-sided in saying, "Hey, I paid $60 for this product, and it does not work." does not function as intended. And there was like a lawsuit and all sorts of stuff about this game, because it's not up to standard. Have there been other lawsuits towards game devs and games that haven't worked or just have not been what was advertised or what was promised? Is that like
was there one before Cyberpunk?
I feel like there was, right? I just can't think of what it? There's been backlash about different products, and I'm not really sure.
I think somebody got sued before Cyberpunk. But I can't remember who it was.
Was it Anthem or Star Wars Battlefront? Like these are two games that didn't really work.
Anthem didn't work either.
Yeah, right. Like I'm having a hard time thinking, but I feel like there was something else that happened before Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
that was like the outrage. I just can't remember what the. Maybe someone in the comment section will remember.
Maybe the YouTube video will just put it like right here.
Yeah,
it'll just be like, oh, it was this game.
Yeah, it might remind me.
Someone in the comments will.
Yeah,
someone from the comments will be like, yeah, I'm actually a part of that class action lawsuit. Still, it is ongoing. I need to be righted for my damages. But like my point is like, okay, so if you pay $60 for Cyberpunk, you're entitled to lose your mind over it and join a class action lawsuit. I spent way more than $60 on Apex, but Twitter says I'm not allowed to be mad and I should just chill because it can be down for 1 or 2 hours if I'm just patient. All right, I'll wait 2 hours. All right, I'll wait 4 hours. Wait, how many hours? 8 hours? It's still down. It's still not working. What is the acceptable time before I can be like, all right, this is kind of ridiculous?
What is though? What is the acceptable time?
It's 0 for me.
Yeah.
If it's
fair,
it is an hour delayed, I should be able to say, look, man, you said you'd put it out at 1. If you knew you weren't going to make that yesterday, you should have said 2. You should have said 3. You should have delayed it a day. And if you're going to say this happens for every game, the same argument can be used against Respawn and EA. I said, well, this happens to all your games. You know this by now.
But okay, so let's try this another way. I know Fortnite, right, has a battle pass each season. You pay a monthly thing or a season thing where you get access to skins and stuff as you play through the battle pass. Does Apex have a similar thing?
Yeah, that's what the battle passes are.
You're paying monthly or season for a battle pass.
Every time a pass comes out, it's $10 to get access to the premium pass.
Okay. There you go. So that's $10, right? I mean, to me, that's you paying for a service. You've paid $10 to use that service.
9 passes. That's $90.
Right? So $10 a month, $90 over the last 9 seasons to access the battle pass and to access that content, which you cannot access right now. Like, I get that if you're going to break that $10 out over a month-long thing and say, well, like, it's like, what is it, like 30 cents a day or whatever it may be, it's like then they're not going to compensate you for that. But you've paid to use a service that isn't working. When you pay to use a service that isn't working, you normally get something back because it's not working. That's just how it works, right? When PlayStation Plus wasn't working for like a month, Sony gave everyone free games. When my cell phone provider stops working, they compensate me for the day that their network was down and they give me credit back. That's just how the world works, right?
There were tweets of people who are like, why don't you just give us some free packs and we'll call it even? And those people were getting hated on by Twitter white knights who were like, wow, taking every opportunity to beg. That's disgusting. And I was like, what? God.
But it's not, you have paid for it. Especially people who have paid for a season pass or a battle pass or whatever it may be. Surely there's something there to be like, hey, we know you paid to use this thing for a month, but we were down for like 12 hours at this point and you couldn't even use it. So yeah, sorry. I mean, what?
I just want to know what Respawn did to these people to get them so in love with them. Because I wish my wife would look at me like how these people look at Respawn. Because Respawn could do nothing wrong. Respawn and EA could do nothing. If they murdered some kids, they were like, hey, come on now. You didn't know those kids. You didn't know them.
They were the drugs. Nothing to do with you gotta, they had to clean it up.
Why are you bringing up old stuff? Why are you bringing up Battlefront? That has nothing to do with this. People are like, wait, what?
I wish I could be enamored with something as much as some of these fans are. Even like the games I love, right? The same way that you love Apex, I'm into Dead by Daylight. That game is terrible. Dead by Daylight is a terrible game. It's enormously fun, and I have a blast with it, and I play it almost every day. But it is terrible. The developers break the game every update. Every time they add a new character, it unbalances everything and just breaks everything for like a month until they fix it. You know, the microtransactions are way too high. There's so many problems. And I, as someone who loves that game, this is my favorite game that's come out in the past generation. I can still objectively sit here and say, this is a terrible game.
Oh yeah.
It's just fun.
So, but like you paid money. You paid what, $30 to get Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, I had to buy the damn game as well.
So when Dead by Daylight doesn't work, you're allowed to complain though, because you spent $30.
I mean, at this point, it's an expectation that it doesn't work.
Right.
There's a roll of the dice when you log on every night, whether or not you'll even get a game at this point. So I don't know what the expectation
That's
is.
the true horror. The true horror aspect. The true survival is whether or not the game will be online.
That's the joke. That's actually the joke in that game in Community. The true killer in the game is their loading screen and the lobby menu, the lobby music and the waiting. That's the true killer. Yeah, man. I don't know. I just hope
my buddy I was gonna play Apex with just switched to Warzone and never came back today. He just was like, I'm not gonna deal with this. He just switched to Warzone and was just like, I'll be back maybe tomorrow. He's like, I'm not gonna deal with this. They'll sort it out overnight. I'll just play Warzone. Like, how does Respawn feel about that? You know,
yeah. They would have lost people though. Like, there's people who this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and they'll be like, I'm done.
Yeah, bothers me because I really do feel like Apex is the better shooter out of all of them. I don't like third person shooters.
Yeah,
I don't like Fortnite as a BR. I never really got into PUBG, and Warzone was okay, just kind of bored me. But like the gunfights in Apex are so good, and that's why it's just like such a bummer. But then it's made even worse when I just want to know if the game is going to work soon, and people are like, "You can't be mad. Don't be mad. Don't be mad about a game sucking."
Just let his game work, guys. Just let George's game work.
Or let me be mad.
Or let him be mad. Can we get some F's in the comments for George? Just a couple of F's in the comment, please. That's all. That's all. But yeah, like, I think it is justified. I think, I mean, you can be mad about whatever you want to be mad about. People are mad about very silly things. You can be outraged about anything. But I guess I just hope the game comes online soon so that you can just play it. At the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? It's just you just want the game to work.
I'm gonna switch to Balan Wonderland.
I'd switch to Balan Wonderland as well. I think I'm gonna exclusively just play Balan Wonder World or Wonderland.
I heard that had a rip-roaring launch as well.
Did you watch the donkey video? That was really funny.
I did not watch the donkey video.
It was good. I enjoyed that a lot. It's on discount right now. Like they've discounted it down by like $30 already or something on the PlayStation Store.
I watched the What Happened on it. You ever watch What Happened?
The What Happened?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Matt Muscles or something
He's
like
funny.
that.
He's funny. He's good.
Yeah.
He's
I just like his
breakdowns
breakdown. Yeah. Does he do a podcast? They should watch that one.
He probably does. They should probably, everyone who's watching this podcast should just watch literally anything else. And subscribe as well while you're at it. You may as well unsubscribe.
Yeah, I watched him talk about it, and I was like, I don't know what this game is, but it's had a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's messy, man. It's I don't know, man.
We talked about Pokemon Snap last week. You said you bought it, right?
I did. I played the tutorial.
Is it good?
It's good. I mean, it's exactly what I expected, which is on the rails.
So good.
Pokemon Snap, taking photos, throwing fruit at Pokemon, throwing these light things at Pokemon to make them light up.
Eat this fruit.
They illuminate. I haven't played enough of it to probably have like a very fair opinion, but
I think my wife would like Pokemon Snap.
My wife's playing it as well. She's into it. She's enjoying it. So I think
I need to get it for her.
I'll probably play a bit more this week, and then I'll talk about it a little bit next week on the podcast. But so far so good, I would say. I saw some people complaining about the price and things like that, but I think the game has a buttload of content in it. Like, it's got, to get all the Pokemon and fill out the Pokedex and stuff, and like there's 6 different types of photos you can take of the Pokemon. So like, you're going to be replaying each of these levels so many different times to get the different moods and personalities of the Pokemon. I would say there's a bunch of content in there. So I don't know.
I watched a streamer beat it in like he finished it over like 10 hours, and he was like, I wish I had just bought it physical so I could just trade it in. But I don't think he went 100% on it.
Yeah, I think you could probably finish the game. Like if you just play through each of the levels, you could probably do it in like 10 hours. But I think there's more content than that. There's a lot of I mean, it's a Pokemon game, right? There's always so much content in those games. But yeah, I'll talk about that maybe a little bit next week.
Resident Evil's next week.
That's the plan. I think we are, depending on how we go with time, we might try and do next week's episode just about Resident Evil, if people are interested in that, which will actually be coming out way after the game comes out. Although, what we could do is maybe we just do our episode 6 podcast and we just release it out of sync. I don't know. I was going to say, let us know in the comment section, but that would be a stupid thing to do because this wouldn't be live before that's even pertinent. So,
because this would be 2024 by the time this video comes out.
Yeah, we record these a little bit ahead of schedule, just for anyone who's curious. But maybe we'll do, okay, I tell you what we could do. Maybe we do a bonus ep about Resident Evil that we release out of sync.
Oh, I would like to just talk about Resident Evil for a while.
Special edition Resident Evil episode.
Maybe we have some Resident Evil. We just have some brews and just talk about Resident Evil for an hour.
Resident Evil episode. I don't mind that. That's not bad. We'll see how we go.
Biohazard. Is it called Biohazard in Australia?
It's called Snake Hazard in Australia.
It's just got snakes around it.
It's just about snakes over here. It's not. Yeah, they redid it because it wouldn't work with the Australian audience that well if it was about a virus. So they just made it about a snake venom instead. It's much more like easy to relate to something like that being an Australian. Yeah. There was an article on news.com yesterday about a guy who was on his boat and he found like the most venomous snake ever on his boat. It was just like, the article was really funny. It was about this guy fishing and he was just like, I was just fishing and then under the seat, this snake just came out and it just was just coming at me. And I just stood very still as the most venomous snake in the world just was on the boat with me. I forgot to send you that. That's I might send you that after this. It was a good article. It was a good little story there about a snake.
Australia sounds great.
Yeah, that's where we live. Any closing thoughts on Apex before we wrap this thing up and tie a neat bow on it?
Yeah. If someone spends $1 on a game, $0, $100, they have a right to complain about it if it doesn't work as it is being marketed and sold to the user. And anyone who has a differing opinion doesn't value their own time and money correctly and are in an abusive relationship with the games industry. You need to go to a therapist and talk to them about the domestic violence you've been put under by EA and Respawn and other like corporations. And don't at me about it, or do. I would like to talk about it. And other than that, I think Valkyrie's probably going to be OP and the game's going to be busted anyway because they didn't balance it so they could sell character skins for a new character. And that's about it.
That's the final word on that. So there you go, guys. Just remember, games are made by companies, and companies only want money. And when you stop and just think logically about any of it, that's all it's about at the end of the day. I know it sounds cynical. I know it doesn't sound good, but it's all just that's the truth. So
it wasn't any different for you when you were working for one of the big groups. They weren't talking about how they were going to put out games just for goodwill and for kisses on cheeks.
I tell you this, I worked in the games industry for a long time. There was never a boardroom meeting where we were sitting and coming up with a new game franchise or a sequel to a game franchise. We were saying, hey, let's just do this for the charity of it and the passion of it. Let's just do this because we all love doing what we're doing. And people do love working in the games industry and people do love making games. Don't get me wrong. But if there was no money to be made, there would be no games being made. And I'm so sorry to burst everyone's bubble. And I'm sorry if you feel like you want to unsubscribe because this is my opinion. But I have genuinely had 7 years experience and it is only ever about one thing.
Speaking of making money, is your shirt shop still up? This is the year one.
It's gone. It's been gone for about a month.
It's been gone already? I was gonna promo your shirt. Oh, well, I have a collector's edition then. This is collector's.
Yeah, the year one merch was just for April. So it's actually gone now.
I thought it was gonna go for the whole year. That's why it was called year one.
Well, year one was all of last year. But yeah, it's limited edition now. So you actually have a limited edition item. If I get famous,
make this sucker an NFT.
Yeah,
make $30,000 off of this.
Maybe,
thing.
Right? Maybe if I get big enough, then that T-shirt could be worth money one day.
Will you sign it for me if you get
100%
with snake venom?
Definitely, just with snake venom, nothing else. Did my package arrive for you yet? It hasn't arrived.
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
I sent George a package.
I would be wearing it
from Australia to the United States. It's getting sent to him via kangaroo, so it's going to take a little bit longer than normal to arrive. But we'll see how we go.
We have a rigorous snake catching policy.
Yeah.
In the postal service, though, I don't know if it'll get through.
We'll see if they open it up and they're just like, we checked it for snakes.
Well, was it live snakes or just snake eggs? Because I think eggs will probably get through.
No, live snakes. I put live snakes on the declaration form.
You're not an amateur. You're a pro. You're a snake pro. You're not going to send eggs.
When you send something internationally, you have to declare exactly what's in the package and the value of it. It's just like for tax reasons, I suppose. So I'm just like T-shirts, hats, $50 or whatever. Live snakes, $2,000. So not only would the snakes get seized at the border, but then George would also be charged an inherent amount of tax for this package coming into the United States.
They're gonna arrest me for being a notorious exotic animals dealer. Like, why do you have $2,000 in live snakes that you're trying to release in Patterson Park in Baltimore?
It just says to the recipient, it just says E. George in brackets pet detective.
When nature calls.
When nature calls. All right, man. I think we're done here, guys. Thank you so much for listening to episode 5 of TCS. We're going to be back next week with episode 6. As we always are, these are released every Friday, I guess Eastern time at this point, over on YouTube. And then whenever the podcast feed goes live, I mean, hopefully by the time you're listening to this, the podcast feed is live on all good podcast services. Look for TCS Triangle Circle Square, and you should be able to find it in any good podcasting app. Or maybe at this point we've just given up on iTunes because it still isn't working, and it's just going to be on YouTube. Who knows? Anyway, that's really all there is from me. I don't really have much to plug. I don't know what's going on at the moment. I mean, I'm making videos. So there's that. I'll make sure you subscribe. We're almost on 20,000. Hopefully by the time this video is live, we're at 20,000. That would be superb. I think we're going to do something special when we get to 25,000. Maybe we'll do like a Q&A or something. I don't know. I don't really like doing those Q&A videos because I'm always worried that there's not going to be enough people asking Q's for me to A. And then I just look like an A.
That was good.
You like that? What about you? What's happening with you at the moment? Do you want people to watch your stream or probably avoid it?
I would avoid it, but I do want people to watch it.
Okay.
Personally, it's one of the worst things I've ever done. But yes, please come to it. We still have a good time. Twitch.tv/egeorge_. Playing a lot of party games. I'm hoping to stream Resident Evil 8. Got to find the right day on the schedule. Friday night is date night, and my mother-in-law is in town this weekend. So I don't know how much time I have, but I want to stream it on Friday. So I want to be live. I'm gonna put on the scary sound effects where people can donate, and it goes ah! And I go, and then that's the thumbnail for my Jacksepticeye's Eye video or something, and then I become Markiplier, and I start my own year of YouTube videos. That's the goal.
Good, very good, very good. Go and check out George's channel. He's a funny bloke, and he's blown up on Twitch just quietly. This guy.
But if I do this, can you put my name right here in the video?
No. I don't edit these at all, so no.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm just gonna get a sign. I'm just gonna get a sign.
It's always in the description down below. URL in the description down below. Go and find him. Go and find him there. But no,
I haven't seen one of these video podcasts yet.
Neither have I, but I don't edit them at all. So everything that happens in these podcasts is unedited and unscripted. So I've just made a bit of an edit there because things just went off the rails and it's gone too long. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. I really appreciate it. You guys will never know what was said. That's just how editing works. Unless I forget to edit channel. Go and check out George's Twitch. Link in the description down below. Go and subscribe to the YouTube channel or unsubscribe. I don't really care. And I will see you guys all in next week's episode of the pod. George, final word from you.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate you.
I don't. Goodbye. Patreons, it is that time again. Thank you, each and every one of you popping up on the screen here for supporting me this month on Patreon. It is thanks to all of you that we can keep these lights on in the back of the studio. Without you, the lights wouldn't be on. So thank you so much for that. If you want to support me further on Patreon or as a channel member, you can hit the join button directly below this video on YouTube or the link in the description down below to go over to Patreon and help support the channel. Thank you guys, you're all legends.